The door creaked open, and Sophia's worst nightmare loomed in the doorway. Victoria, her stepmother, sneered at her with malice in her eyes. Her twin daughters, Adriana and Ariana, flanking her with cruel grins. Michael, Sophia's soon-to-be husband, stood beside them, his expression cold and unyielding, like a stone statue. Sophia's heart raced as she rushed to Michael, desperation clawing at her heart. She grasped his knee, her fingernails digging into the fabric of his pants like a lifeline. "Michael, please, you have to believe me. I don't know how I got here. I was drugged and raped. This is all a setup, a trap," she begged, her voice shaking like a leaf, her eyes welling up with tears like a dam about to burst. Adriana and Ariana sneered, their voices dripping with malice, their words cutting like knives. "Oh, spare us the drama, Sophia. It's obvious what happened. You're not as innocent as you claim to be." They exchanged a glance, their eyes glinting with a sinister light, like two witches conjuring a spell. "Shut the hell up! Both of you were involved in this." Sophia's voice was a mixture of rage and desperation, her accusation hanging in the air like a sword. Sophia pleaded with Michael, her eyes locking onto his, her gaze burning with desperation. "Please don't listen to them. They're lying. I was drugged, Michael. I don't remember anything. You have to believe me." She gripped his knee tighter, her fingers trembling like a leaf in a hurricane. Victoria's laughter was like a knife twisting in Sophia's heart, her voice echoing off the walls like a cold, cruel taunt. "Who would have drugged you, Sophia? You're so paranoid." She raised an eyebrow, her eyes glinting with mockery, like a cat toying with a mouse. Sophia lunged at her, her fingers tangling in her hair, pulling her close. "You did that, Victoria. You're the one who drugged me, who set me up. You're a witch, a monster," she hissed, her voice low and venomous, like a snake spitting poison. Victoria's eyes flashed with anger, but Sophia didn't let go, her grip tightening like a vice. Michael's expression remained unyielding, his eyes cold and unforgiving, his jaw clenched in a tight line, like a rock refusing to yield. "Sophia, I said let go. This is over. You're just making a scene," he growled, his voice low and menacing, like a storm cloud gathering on the horizon. Sophia tightened her grip on Victoria's hair, her voice rising in desperation. "Wait, Michael. Wait, don't do this to me. I love you. This was a setup. You can't believe them over me. I'm your fiancé, not them." She screamed, her face contorted in anguish, her eyes blazing with tears like a wildfire raging out of control. Victoria's face twisted in pain, her eyes flashing with anger, but Sophia didn't let go. Her fingers tangled in her hair like a vice. Adriana and Ariana jeered, their voices echoing off the walls, their eyes gleaming with malice, like two vultures circling their prey. "Look at her, Michael. She's so desperate. She can't even take responsibility for her actions." They taunted, their words cutting like knives, like a surgeon's scalpel slicing through flesh. Michael's voice cut through the chaos, his tone firm and commanding, like a general ordering his troops into battle. "Sophia, release Victoria." Now he barked, his eyes flashing with authority, like a king issuing a decree. Sophia felt a surge of anger and despair, her grip on Victoria's hair faltering, like a tree falling in a storm. As she let go, Victoria stumbled back, her eyes blazing with hatred, her hair disheveled like a stormy sea. Michael's expression didn't change, his eyes still cold and unforgiving, his face a mask of stone, like a statue refusing to yield. "If you say it's a setup, Why don't we watch the CCTV footage? There is a camera in this hotel room, Victoria suggested as she fixed her messed up hair, smirking at Sophia evilly, her eyes glinting with triumph, like a cat licking its paws after a successful hunt. Sophia's heart sank at her words. Then she remembered the small camera she had seen earlier. She knew she was finished. Her mind raced with dread, like a rabbit trapped in a snare. She felt a cold sweat trickling down her spine, like a snake slithering through the grass, as she realized the trap she was in. "You can't use that against me," she yelled. Victoria's smirk grew wider, her eyes gleaming with victory, as she watched Sophia squirm. "Oh, but we can, Sophia. We can and we will. You see, we've been expecting you to deny it, and now we have the proof to show Michael the truth about the kind of woman you really are." Her voice was like a knife, twisting Sophia's heart. Sophia couldn't help but wonder. What on earth did she do to this woman that made her hate her? Michael's expression remained unreadable, but his eyes flicked at the camera, and Sophia knew she was doomed. Her stepsisters, Ariana and Adriana, snickered, their eyes gleaming with malice, their faces twisted in cruel grins. They looked like two witches, reveling in Sophia's misery. "Let's watch it, then," Michael said, his voice cold and detached, his eyes fixed on the camera. "Let's see what the footage shows." His words were like a death sentence, sealing Sophia's fate. Sophia felt a wave of despair wash over her, her heart heavy with defeat. She knew she was about to be betrayed, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. The room seemed to be closing in on her, the walls shrinking, the air thickening with tension. She could barely breathe, her heart racing like a wild animal. As Victoria nodded to Ariana, who produced a small device from her bag, Sophia knew she was trapped. The device beeped, and the TV screen flickered to life, showing the grainy footage from the camera. Sophia's heart sank as she saw herself on the screen, her actions twisted and distorted, her innocence lost in lies and deceit. But something was not clear. The man she had a one-night stand with did not show up, only his back. No, this can't be happening. Sophia screamed, her voice echoing off the walls as she stumbled backward, her eyes fixed on the screen in horror. Adriana and Ariana cackled, their voices echoing off the walls, their eyes gleaming with triumph. "See, Michael? We told you she was a slut." Ariana sneered, her voice venomous. "We told you she was cheating on you." Her words were like a punch to the gut, leaving Sophia breathless and reeling. Sophia felt a surge of anger and humiliation, her face burning with shame. "No, Michael, please. You have to believe me. This is a setup. We are getting married soon, for Christ's sake. Don't listen to their lies," Sophia pleaded, her voice cracking with desperation as she knelt down before him. "Victoria and Ariana and Adriana, they're all in on it. They're trying to destroy me." Michael's expression didn't change, his eyes still fixed on the screen, his face a mask of stone. "Sophia, you're even trying to deny it," he said, his voice cold and detached. "You're even attempting to defend yourself, even though we all just watched the footage. You're so pathetic." Sophia felt a wave of despair wash over her, her heart heavy with defeat. She knew she was losing him. She knew she was losing everything. "Michael, please, you have to listen to me. This is a setup. They're trying to tear us apart," Sophia begged, her voice breaking with emotion. Victoria's smirk grew wider, her eyes gleaming with victory. "Michael, darling, don't be ridiculous. Sophia is just attempting to cover her tracks. She's been caught red-handed, And now she's desperate. Her words were like a dagger, twisting in Sophia's heart. Michael's eyes flicked at Victoria, and Sophia saw a glimmer of doubt in his eyes. But it was too late. The damage was done. He had seen the footage. He had seen the lies, and he believed them. "Sophia, get out," he said, his voice cold and detached. "Get out of my sight. Get out of my life this instant." Her heart shattered like delicate crystal, piercing shards slashing her soul. Agony suffocated her. Tears were flowing down her face like a torrential rain, blurring her vision as she fled the hotel. She ran, her tears streaming like a river, her heart heavy with despair. The elevator doors opened, and she stepped inside, leaning against the wall, her heart breaking into a million pieces. She couldn't believe this was happening to her, that her life was falling apart like a house of cards. The lobby crowd stared, whispering, pointing, their eyes burning holes in her skin. She knew she looked like a mad woman, her face contorted in anguish, her eyes wild with fear. She had to escape, to flee from the lies and betrayal. She ran out of the hotel into the cool night air, her heart racing with fear. She didn't know where to go, what to do. She just knew she had to get away, to escape the agony that consumed her. She walked for hours, miles, her feet sore, her body exhausted, but her mind clear, her heart determined. Her legs trembled beneath her, her feet heavy as she trudged back to her apartment. She walked back to her apartment because she didn't have cash with her. The chill of the night air seeped into her bones, but it was nothing compared to the icy grip of heartbreak that had taken hold of her heart. She shivered, not just from the cold, but from the shock of it all. Finally, she reached her apartment, a sanctuary that now felt like a prison. She locked the door behind her, as if she could lock out the pain, the heartache, the betrayal. But it was too late. It had already seeped in, like a chill that had settled into her bones. She collapsed onto her bed, her body shaking, her heartbreak, her world crumbling around her. The tears she had held back earlier now flowed freely, streaming down her face like a river of sorrow. She lay there, broken and shattered, sobbing on her pillow, the weight of her despair pressing down on her like an anvil. Sophia replayed the night's events in her mind. The cruel laughter of Victoria and her daughters, Michael's cold, unyielding gaze, the damning footage on the screen. Her mind was a whirlwind of pain and confusion, each memory a fresh wound that cut deeper than the last. "Why did this happen to me?" she whispered into the darkness, her voice hoarse and raw. "Why would they do this to me?" Sleep was elusive, each attempt at rest met with flashes of the betrayal she had endured. The night dragged on, an endless torture of loneliness and grief. When the first light of dawn finally seeped through her window, it found Sophia still awake, her eyes red and swollen from crying, her body aching with exhaustion.